Today we're checking out the Diablosport inTune i3 Platinum Tuner and PCM swap kit for the 2018 5.7 liter Ram 1500. If you want to unlock better performance, cleaner drivability, and more control over your truck's electronics, then this is one of the most capable tuning kits out on the market, and it is definitely worth checking out. This kit is going to combine a handheld performance tuner with that very valuable PCM swap kit. This i3 Platinum Tuner comes preloaded with dyno-tested performance tunes for multiple different octane fuels, plus a transmission control module tune to sharpen shift points and improve responsiveness under load. One of the best features is going to include a full touchscreen display, real-time data logging and monitoring, things like air-to-fuel ratio and all of the gauges that you might need. You can also read and clear diagnostic trouble codes and have user-adjustable parameters, things like your speedometer, your calibration for different gear to tire sizes, throttle booster, spark timing, and advanced limiters. You also have user-adjustable parameters, things like speedometer calibration for different gear and tire sizes, throttle booster, spark timing, and limiters. The tuner is Wi-Fi enabled, so you can update the firmware without hooking it up to your computer, and it also supports multiple vehicle licensing, so you can use it across more than one Ram depending on the license. The tuner is a rugged handheld device with a colored touchscreen designed to plug right into the OBD2 port for easy operation. The unlocked PCM from Diablosport is remanufactured or modified to accept higher custom tunes with sealing, connectors, and mounting points matching the factory specs. All the wiring and the software tools are going to be needed for the swap are going to be included in the kit. The build is intended for both street and some performance applications. So things like drivability, emission readiness under carb states, and hardware compatibility are all considered in the swap. As far as the pricing goes on this, it's coming in right in that mid $800 price range. For what you get out of the custom tunes, an unlocked PCM, data logging, and full control of the vehicle, this is a premium price, but still a reasonable price point for serious performance upgrades. This installation is going to be rated just a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and you can have this installed in 15 minutes of your time, since all you have to do is plug it into the OBD2 port and navigate it using the touchscreen. Now let's see exactly how that install process goes with a video from one of our AmericanTrucks customers.
Now for the actual installation process for the PCM swap, as well as the Diablosport programmer. You'll need the bypass cable, the programmer, your replacement PCM, a 10mm deep socket or a socket extender, a socket wrench, and then while not required but definitely recommended, you'll want a pick or some type of small flathead screwdriver to get into a very small spot to undo a particular locking mechanism for the connectors. Hi folks, I'm Jeff. In this video, I'm going to show you how to install and use Diablosport's inTune i3 programmer and perform a PCM swap, which is required for certain vehicles. So to get started with updating our programmer, you can update it via Wi-Fi or by plugging directly into your computer using the mini USB cable that's provided. In this case, I'm going to plug it into my computer and update through the Windows application. To get started, after plugging it in, you'll go to my computer or this PC, and you should see the i3 device showing up in the list of devices and drives. We'll open that up, go to the Updater folder, and in the Windows folder, or Mac for Mac users, but in this case I'm on Windows 11, and we'll do the ignition installer. Once the updater has installed, you'll just simply run the program from your desktop computer. And then you'll see that it'll just continue going through the update process automatically. Once all the updates have been downloaded and installed on the computer, then they'll start showing up on the programmer and continue going through the install process. Once it's been fully updated and installed, it'll show on the screen. Now once you've updated the programmer, the next step is performing the PCM swap. To do that, you're going to need a little bit of information from your programmer and from your factory PCM to send to Diablosport so they can ship out your replacement one. Some of the information you're going to need is your vehicle identification number, or VIN, the calibration number, also from the PCM, and then you're going to need the part number and serial number from the Diablosport programmer. Once you have that information together and sent to Diablosport, they'll send out your replacement PCM, which we'll swap here shortly. Alright, now to get started, the first step we'll need to do is to disconnect the negative terminal on the battery. Now for the sake of this video, I have taken off the air intake shroud or cover just so you can have a better view into the PCM that's here in the back. But it won't be required to remove whenever you're actually replacing it yourself. Alright, so after we've disconnected the negative terminal on the battery and now we're over here to swap out the PCM, the first step is going to be lifting up on these, should be 2 red tabs. Now on my particular truck, one of the red tabs has actually already broken off, but you can still see this one is still on. But that won't stop us from being able to swap it out. It'll just make things a little bit more difficult. So you kind of get to see the best case and the worst case. Now for the easy ones, or if you have a newer vehicle, you should be able to press in on a little tab right there above the red latch. We'll press in, lift up on the red tab, at which point it should disconnect. Fairly straightforward and fairly easy. Now, if it's an older vehicle or if things have gotten just wedged stuck in there, maybe it's never taken off, whatever the case may be, it might just be very much stuck on there, or you might be missing the red tab altogether. So the other way to do it, a few ways. You can have a pry tool of any shape, size, plastic or metal. Personally, I prefer the ones for pulling tabs off. But what you'll need to do is stick it inside. At the very top, there's going to be a green and a blue sliding rail on both sides that need to be pushed down to get it to fully release. So in my case, I'll stick this down in there. Push them all the way down until you start to see the green and blue tabs sticking out from the bottom. If they aren't sticking out from the bottom, they'll need to go further. If you're still having troubles with getting it down, I recommend silicone lubricant just to spray along each of those sliding rails just to help clean it up and get it to loosen up some. Now in my case, I have already kind of loosened them up for a little while, let it sit so that it would kind of be as clean as possible. So getting these pushed all the way down from the top. Now, the connector will fully release. Alright, once the connectors are removed, the next step is going to be swapping out the PCM. There's 3 bolts that we'll need to remove with our 10mm socket. We have 1 bolt on the right side in the middle. Then there's 2 on the left, 1 on the top, 1 down on the bottom. Alright, and just like that, we now have the old PCM removed. Now we can insert the new one. You want to make sure it's oriented the same way as the previous one was, so you've got your 2 bolts on the left, 1 bolt on the right. Alright, once we have that new PCM bolted on, all we got to do is reconnect the connectors. Alright, so now as you're pushing the connectors in, again if your vehicle is a little newer, or your red tabs still work, you can just simply push it back in using the red tab, like so. Then, if you're missing the red tab or your vehicle's a little older, a little stuck, you'll take the sliding rails that are on each side and you'll just need to push them all the way up until it's locked into place. What I also recommend is taking a little tool if you can, and just making sure that they're pushed up in as far as you can make them. Once the PCM is reinstalled, go ahead and reconnect your battery. Alright, now as we're beginning to get ready to program the vehicle, depending on the particular make and model, you may have to use the bypass cable or a bypass module. You'll want to make sure to follow the instructions provided by Diablosport, which will vary by particular model of your vehicle. In my instance, this is a 2018 Ram, so we'll look at the bypass cable. There's going to be a white and a green star connector. All I need is the white one, and then I'll have to plug it into an unused port on the hub located right up here. Alright, once that white connector is plugged in, we'll take the other end of the bypass cable and it'll hook into the OBD2 connector. Next, we'll take the programmer itself and then hook it onto the bypass connector or bypass module. At this point, you'll see that it's now powered on. And now we'll step into the vehicle to continue doing the rest of the programming. Alright, so once everything has been connected in, the next step is just to finish the PCM install on the inside, making sure that the programming has gone all the way through. So to do that, put the key in the ignition and turn to the run position. We'll keep it here for about 5 to 10 seconds. Ensure it fully starts up there without starting the engine. You'll most likely notice all of your warning lights come on, which is totally fine at this point. Then we'll turn the vehicle or turn the ignition to the off position. And then lastly, we're going to start it. And when we start it, we'll just want to hit the gas pedal a little bit to make sure that it's registering and getting RPMs. And it seems to be working fine. So at this point, we can go and turn the vehicle off. Take the key out of the ignition. All right, and then at this point, we can now tune the vehicle. So we'll get our programmer here, hit tune vehicle. Ensure the key is in the run position, but do not start the engine. So we'll turn it into the run position. And hit continue. Of course, we have different options to do easy tune and advanced tune. In my case, I'm going to pick the easy tune. And we're going to keep it on the 87 octane tune. We'll install a standard tune for the transmission. Next, we'll check the performance transmission tune. Change the tire size. In my case, I have modified tires, so I'm going to go ahead and hit yes. I also want to remove the speed limiter. Yes to continue. Now it's going to create a backup and then perform the tune. Alright, at this point, turn the ignition to the off position. And hit continue. And we'll turn it to the run position, but not turning the actual engine on. At this point, it can take quite a while, so... Alright, once everything is finished going through, at this point it gives us the text of what kind of tune we're about to do, and it'll ask if we want to install the tune. And now we're writing the tune to the vehicle. Alright, turn the vehicle into the off position. Hit continue. Turn into the on position. Hit continue once again. And then just continue to follow the instructions of off and on, hitting continue each time it instructs you to do so. Alright, and at this point, tuning is complete. We can unplug the tool and start to drive the vehicle. Alright, and one last thing before you're able to finally take off in the vehicle is to remove the tuner. Now, this is a little complicated if you have the bypass cable. Of course, you'll have to remove the WD-2 connector. But then the bypass cable can be very difficult to get to, and this is where it's very helpful if you have the pick tool that I mentioned earlier, that you can get in there and push the little tab to release it from its holder. Of course, this part freaking sucks. Just to show what you have to do when you're up in there, there's this little bitty clip right here that has to be pushed inwards. You take this clip and push it in to the side, like so, to pull out. This is where this little hook can come in handy. Again, you're pushing the clip right here to the inside. If you can wedge it to the right, you'll have to release it, like so.
All right, well that wraps up our review and install of the Diablosport inTune i3 Platinum Tuner and PCM swap kit for the 2018 5.7 liter Ram 1500s. And for all things Ram, keep it right here at American Trucks.